All right, let's break down a story where leveling up literally starts in the crib. This is not just about getting a second chance at life. This is about a baby with a mission to hit max level before he can even crawl. So, just imagine for a second. You die, you get reborn, but this time you come back with some kind of incredible power. You'd probably hope for the classics, right? Flying, super strength, something like that. But what if? What if your superpower was basically a video game interface that's always on, right inside your head, tracking your stats, your energy, and constantly pushing you to level up? Well, that is the new reality for our hero, and it kicks in the very second he's born. See, our guy is reborn with all his memories from a pretty miserable past life. He was a content blogger who completely ran his body into the ground. So this time, he is absolutely determined to build a body that will not fail him. And his chance comes, almost immediately, when the system in his head gives him his first major choice. I'm not kidding. He is only 1 week old. He can barely even focus his eyes, and he's already looking at his first skill tree. The system just pops up, tells him his energy is full, and says, hey, it's time to evolve. So he's got 3 paths to choose from. Rapid growth would give him a speed boost, and Psi-form is all about boosting the mind. But, remembering how his physical body totally failed him in his last life, he is craving raw physical strength. He knows he needs a solid foundation to build on. He goes with human beast, and boom, the effect is instantaneous. His physique stat literally jumps from 1 to 2. His breathing gets deeper, his mind feels sharper, and his eyesight gets so clear he can actually watch the news on the TV from all the way across the room. The game has officially begun. And what's so fascinating is how he approaches his new life. For him, being a baby isn't about napping and crying. Nope. It's about grinding for experience points. And his progress is, it's exponential. And this slide just perfectly shows how ridiculously fast we're talking. By 2 months old, he's already standing and talking. By 6 months, he's mastered the basics of combat from a manual he taught himself how to read. And get this, by 9 months old, he has the physique of a teenager. It's just completely insane. And this whole situation leads to some pretty hilarious moments. While other babies are just trying not to drool on themselves, our hero is listening to his parents stressing about money, and he's secretly trying to calculate how to boost the family income so he can afford the insane amount of formula he needs to keep evolving. But hey, it's not all easy wins. His first real fight is against Pumpkin, the family cat, and he gets completely, 100% dominated. Pinned to the floor, no contest, and honestly, this humbling defeat just makes him want to train even harder to master his new body. All this intense training finally pays off when his dad realizes, whoa, I have a prodigy on my hands. And that takes him to the next level, a national selection base for the most gifted and, frankly, the absolute weirdest kids in the entire country. The moment he arrives, he walks right into a standoff between 2 other so-called geniuses. The first kid proudly declares his unique talent for long-distance urination. The competition here is definitely on a whole other level. And the other kids come back? Yeah, an equally impressive and disgusting feat. This is his new peer group. These are the other prodigies he's up against. It becomes very clear very fast that this academy is going to be an interesting experience. So his very first class is on something called mind cultivation. The whole process is super intense, but for our hero, it's just another system to figure out and master. While all the other kids are struggling and tapping out after just a few minutes, he easily outlasts every single one of them on his very first try. It just goes to show his potential isn't just physical. But beyond all the bizarre competitions and the mental training, this academy has a much deeper, much more serious purpose. He pretty quickly discovers that the world he's been reborn into is way more complex and dangerous than he ever could have imagined. He starts hearing his parents and his teachers talking about these mysterious concepts, and the big one is the void. He overhears his father mention it, and it just unlocks his whole new layer to his understanding of reality itself. So what is it? His father explains that it's this place where reality is all warped, and inside it there are these things called echo realms, basically copies of real places and times. People go into these realms, kind of like dungeon runs in a video game, to gather rare resources. This is the secret economy of his new worlds. And all this new knowledge becomes super critical during a month-long survival mission inside one of these echo realms. In there, he and a few other prodigies don't just find resources, they find the ruins of a highly advanced civilization, and more importantly, they find out what destroyed it, this terrifying galactic threat known as the Star Hunters. And just like that, everything clicks into place. The Prodigy program, the crazy intense training, it's not just about creating geniuses, it's about forging guardians. And this realization hits him right as he's about to face his final evaluation. The big debate among the evaluators is this: can a kid who got all his powers through pure hard work, through his grind, really compare to kids who are born with a special awakening trait? They kind of see his lack of a natural gift as a potential risk. But his performance, his potential, and his just sheer unstoppable determination, they're impossible to ignore. In the end, there's really only one decision they can make. He is awarded S rank, the highest honor possible, which instantly makes him one of the most promising talents in the nation's entire history. And the rewards? They're totally life-changing. A massive grant that solves all his family's money problems, a personal mentor gets assigned to him, and his entire family is placed under state protection. He even manages to buy his sister's loyalty with a fancy new watch. He has well and truly leveled up his entire life. And with his new rank, the real purpose behind the entire Prodigy program becomes crystal clear. The Star Hunters aren't just some myth. They are a very real threat that moves from planet to planet, harvesting entire civilizations like their crops. And he was trained to be one of the defenders strong enough to stop them. So there you have it. He's reached the absolute peak for a child prodigy. He's got the power, he's got the resources, and he has a clear mission. But the real question is, what comes next? Especially when he starts finding evidence that the Star Hunters might not be the only threat out there, and that some of Earth's most devastating plagues might have a far more ancient and sinister origin.